Alrighty, kia ora koutou. Hey, firstly, thank you very much for taking the time to come along to the TBC Cricket Prizegiving for 2021-22. Great to see some good numbers here. I know it's always difficult this time of year. Almost need to hold it, almost in that last weekend after the last weekend of cricket before winter codes kick in and so on. But it is the way it is, and of course, with the added difficulty of COVID and so forth, it would have been nice to see this packed out. But thank you very much for your attendance tonight. It's a fantastic opportunity for us to get in behind the boys and show our support and enthusiasm for their involvement this year, and also to recognise great team effort and also the volunteers and coaches, etc. that make it all happen. And while I'm on that, a massive thank you. This is, as far as I'm concerned, I probably should have introduced myself too for those that don't know me. My name's Regan Cross and I run the cricket here at school. And actually it's been nice bumping into a couple of people who I might have spoken to or shared emails with throughout the term, or even through last year. It's nice to put a name to a face and a face to a name. But in all honesty, I think that the most important people as far as running this club are concerned are those that are involved in making sure that the game days occur. So those people that we have up here, you can see on the left-hand side, they front up each week, and without having someone sort of getting the game underway and organising batting orders and supporting on the sideline and all of those sorts of things, the boys just don't get that opportunity. So on behalf of TBC Cricket, I'm most appreciative for your involvement. I know that we've got a good number of those people who have been coaching throughout the year here tonight, so if we could put our hands together for them, that would be fantastic. You'll see there we've got a midweek coaching team too, so we have a number of staff who don't take a team on Saturday but are involved pretty heavily, in particular on a Monday with our college prem, or on a Friday with our college reserve sides. So it's nice to have their involvement as well. And this year it's been great to have a few of our first 11 players involved as well. That's been fantastic for our boys. It's been really aspirational and inspirational, I guess you'd say, to have guys that they look up to working alongside them each day. So we've really appreciated Jake, Seb and Fitzy's involvement this year. So thanks to you guys too. And of course, those that kind of understand the progression from college cricket into senior cricket, we have a number of staff and some parents too who maybe after 15 or 20 years or more dust off the pads and the kit and get out there and amongst it with either boys that they teach or sons, which I think is fantastic. I've thoroughly enjoyed being involved again after 25 years of not playing cricket. I know that a number of you have too who have been involved over the years. So thanks to all of those coaches, in particular the staff, and of course the parents in the mix too, that are up there Saturday all day to front up and help out for our boys. So let's put our hands together for those people too. Really briefly, most of you are aware of the pathway in terms of where things start. So we have two sides that are involved in the college reserve grade competition, which is the 35 over competition on a Saturday afternoon. So the Wanderers and the Cavaliers have been our two teams over a number of years. And then we have we usually have around 4 college prem sides, and this year's been no different. And then as far as kind of the high performance side of things are concerned, we have a junior secondary first 11 who play in the NZCT national tournament. In fact, we've been lucky enough the last 2 seasons to be involved in that, which is the junior version of the Gillette Cup. And we did well to make that tournament last season, and actually the season before we ended up winning it. So unfortunately this year, I'll talk to that shortly, COVID scuppered our hopes. But that's the junior cricket side of things at TBC. So, without any further ado, and I guess, hopefully you guys have picked up throughout the season, and maybe for those who've been here for a few years, our biggest focus is probably less around individuals becoming better cricketers, but what's equally important, is if not more so, is that we look to develop our players into young men. And so you'll see the focus for most of the prizes tonight are around Team Man. The Kane Williamson Shield's a good example of that, which are the attitudes and characteristics that we'd like our boys to exhibit on the field. And we see that as being as important, if not more so, than success in terms of runs and wickets and so forth. But obviously, that often is a byproduct of that kind of an attitude. So, without any further ado, we'll have a look at a few performances, as you can see here, throughout the season. And I'd like to invite Regan Tristram up as the team man for TBC Wanderers. TBC Cavaliers, cracking photo there. In fact, unfortunately due to COVID, we would have had our official sports photographs about a month or so ago, but they were pushed back, so the snaps that you see are a bit of a mixture of a couple of game day snaps. Some of the teams are a little bit light on numbers. Again, due to COVID, it was around a difficult time. We were just getting teams together on Saturday. So the Cavaliers, well done to Gersh and Luke and Samson there, some good performances, and the team man, Samson Sutton. Unfortunately, it looks like Samson's not here tonight. Just by the way, each of our winners of the Team Man Award receive a $50 voucher from our sponsors, Cricket Express. TBC Black, our first college prem side. Let's have a little look here. Some goodie with the ball. Just so you know, to get on here with the bat, you need to score 50 or more. So it's a relatively tough ask in that college prem competition at times. Team man of the year, James Gatto. There we go. Unfortunately, James isn't here either. That's the way it goes. TBC Red. Here we go. Ashton Lucas scored relatively heavily there, which is good. Kieran and Dawson with a couple of good stints with the ball, and Ashton's the team man. TBC Blue, season highlights. Schillett done well with the bat and the ball there, and Lockie and Cameron. Some nice work with the ball, and the team man for TBC Blue is AJ Kingsman. TBC Yellow. Staunch group of fellas here, interestingly, the TBC Yellow side is generally some of the slightly older boys. You can see a number of these boys you may see too featured in the 4th 11. So this Yellow side is a little bit more of a feeder side, I guess, to the 4th, which is where we have probably some better results in terms of the bat and the ball. So yeah, well done across the board there. And the team man is Caden Reed. as I mentioned before, yeah, it's nice that I think that we have even sides that are playing on Saturday. The key there is for us to, for the boys to get as many opportunities as possible with the bat and the ball. So that's vital, but it's also important to have yeah, a high performance end, a selection of boys who get the opportunity to play cricket at a slightly higher level. So our NZCT Junior First 11 this year did very well in terms of winning the Bay of Plenty regional qualifier. And as it alludes to up there, unfortunately we were robbed of the opportunity to play in the ND qualification after New Zealand Cricket cancelled the NZCT tournament. So that was a real shame. That side had real opportunity to do well, I think, and that's the way it goes. And hopefully there might be some more possibilities for some inter-school cricket to kind of replace that return for. It says here a highlight of that tournament was the 411 for 2 that we put on, and yeah, Seth and Bryn and Luke did very well in bringing up 3 figures. So those are some of the highlights across the 3 or 4 matches that they played. Moving on to TBC Senior Cricket now. So again, you can see the pathway from reserve grade into college prem, and then moving now to 4th and 3rd 11 cricket. Those 2 teams play in the men's B grade. Then our 2nd 11 play in the senior reserve grade. Of course, our first 11 mix it with the best of the Bay of Plenty in the Bay-wide Premier grade. So yeah, I think as far as opportunities to develop and progress, coming to TBC as a Year 9 student and being able to make your way right through to the first 11 all in the one environment, playing with your friends and with your mates, is a fantastic way to go. And I think that pathway has been proven over a large number of years now in terms of Bay of Plenty representatives and ND and Black Cap representatives too. So that's the pathway across senior cricket at TBC. Let's move to the 4th 11 now, and very briefly, a number of our players in the 4th 11, in fact, all of them at one point or another have never played against men before, so it's a bit of a step up to do that. And generally we see in the first term that the boys don't score many runs. They find it really hard to adjust to playing against the men who, as a rule, put the ball in better areas than the boys do at college grade and set pretty tight fields, and so it is relatively hard to score. Similarly with the ball, if you drop one short, it's going to go a fair way rather than getting away with some loose stuff that might happen in college grade. So difficult to I guess from a progress or from a success viewpoint anyway. But what we saw with these boys is that although we only had 1 win in the pre-Christmas side of the competition, the boys featured really well and picked up a few wins in the second half of the season. And actually a number of the boys started scoring runs and taking wickets. So that's what it's all about, that growth and development that happens from playing at a high level than what you used to. Some notable performances for the 4th 11 there. Yeah, so the boys scoring some good runs with the bat and taking wickets in the second half of the season. And team man for the 4th 11 is Jack Muir. Just speak very briefly to Jack, because I was involved with the Falls. Jack is, if you know Jack, he's the type of fella that will front up and go hard for the team. He's always the first one to put his hand up to go out there and umpire or sort out Cricket HQ. He's great behind the sticks, he's happy to bowl, he's happy to do anything, and he'll bat wherever you put him. So well done, Jack, you thoroughly deserve that award. Lucky if you can sit
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Clark, if you don't know who I am. Scotty Curtis is usually the coach of the 3rd 11, but unfortunately is isolating at the moment, so I think he comes out tomorrow. But in terms of what he has been able to achieve this year with 3rd 11 has been outstanding. This year we were filled with a lot of talent. in that sort of third and fourth, second 11 group where we were trying to mix it all up and make sure that everyone got a decent go. And we thought the best way for that to happen properly was to give Scotty a run in the thirds and then provide a little more structure there. And, he's done a fantastic job, and the thirds actually came away with a very impressive record. Some of the notable performances, as you can see, there's quite a decent list of guys that have scored some runs there, and even better with the bowling. Arian I think it was about the second to last week of the year, managed to notch up the first century of the season, which was a fantastic achievement. And the special mention to Olly, who took a bag of wickets and was consistent taking a lot of wickets over the season. So well done to the third 11. They did make it through to the semi-finals, where they unfortunately lost to Hawks Cricket Club. But overall, it was a fantastic year. A lot of the boys did progress into the second 11 as the season went through as well. Our team man for the third 11 is Jake Stock.
Moving through to the second 11, the side was very fortunate to be coached by George Moore, who played with the lads through term 4 and then part of term 1 before he had to move his focus to football with Tauranga City, at which time Wilkes Fargo fronted up for us again as he has the last couple of years with third 11 side. So really appreciate George's involvement as well as Will's. And we also had some other parents involved with some guest performances. There are a couple sitting here tonight, Blair. You've got a couple of caps and Cy Robinson. So always nice to be able to get a couple of parents out there in the mix when times are tough numbers-wise. The seconds is, I think, probably the most important side as far as the pathway is concerned. It's a pretty transient side. And that's because really it's a breeding ground for the Premiers. So even this year you'll see a number of players who have moved from thirds to the seconds, and that next level of cricket and more competition helps to develop those players so they're ready to make that next step to the firsts. And equally, this season you'll see, as is normally the case, players who are predominantly playing for the seconds in term 4 last year are now playing for the first. So it's nice at each end of that side that we have movement in and out of that side. So the side this year didn't do particularly well as far as number of wins is concerned. But again, that side is very transient, and really it's more about the development of those players getting the opportunity to play at that level. In saying that, there were lots of notable performances for the seconds, and here we have some of the boys with the bat that scored 50 or more, and we're a little bit less lenient on the bowling performances that we put up here. When you get to the seconds, you have to take 4 for or more, so there's a few there. Fitzy and Frisk and Espo picking up some good little bags. Team man, the second 11. Fitzgerald. Just wait up here for a second, Jack. Sorry, mate. George Moore is I think your involvement in the seconds this year has been that important that Mr. Moore thought it was really important that he wanted to have a bit of a say here. He's not able to be here tonight, unfortunately. But I'll read through this because I think it's important. Jack is without doubt, this is from Mr. Moore, the coach, one of the most outstanding teammen at TBC. He consistently puts his teammates first, actively seeks opportunities to enhance the team environment. He's a great communicator and asks meaningful questions in order to progress his game. He receives feedback with a growth mindset. He's one of the hardest workers in training. Jack has been more than willing to take warm-ups, trainings, help with admin. It makes the job of the coach significantly easier. He has happily dedicated his time to give back to TBC program, coaching juniors as they're on Friday with the reserve grade sides. He has contributed with some outstanding individual performances, including 76 not out against the Pookie, 68 against Katikati, and by some miracle rolled through to Pookie, taking 5 for 23. It's pleasing to see his hard work would have brought up to the first 11 later in the season. So well done, Jack. Fantastic team.
Right, on to our final team here tonight. It's the first 11. So just to provide a little bit of a wrap of our season, the first 11 at the start of the year was very, very fresh. A lot of young faces. We'd actually sort of progressed 2 teams through the whole season last year with the delay of Gillette Cup the previous season. So there was a lot of new faces that we didn't know a lot about. So the goal at the start was really just to get boys used to the environment, step up to Premier Cricket level, learn from it and see if they can adapt and start competing in the second half of the season, and obviously prepare for the inter-school season in January as well. And I think the boys overall have just done a fantastic job. Through that first 4 or 5 games, we really did sort of just struggle to find our way, and I think there was a key moment in the season where we rolled through one of the lower end sides and really just found our confidence to compete at that level. And all the way through the rest of the season, we've done a fantastic job. So we came 6th in the Bay Whites, we came 4th in the T20 pool that we were in, and then we narrowly missed out on the semi-final spot in the Premier competition of the year, which is the Williams Cup. So it was a fantastic effort overall in the senior men stuff, and I think playing senior men cricket, playing against the best in the Bay all the way through the year, really does set the boys up to play some really good standards of inter-school cricket, and that shows by the boys being able to lift the Super 8 shield that's on display here today for the first time in 16 years. So it's been a fantastic year. Well done to the boys that have been involved, and for the guys that have had a taste of it, I hope that you guys keep persevering and making sure that you're putting your hand up to get involved as we progress into next year. Okay, so I just wanted to call up the inter-school players of this season. So it was led by Darcy Collett, our captain. We had Finn O'Brien O'Lone, Hirsch Patel, Sam Clode, Lachlan Keeney, Seb Heath, Jack Jones, Logan Murray, Luke Scrimger, Billy Syme, Troy Barnett, Aidan Green, and Luke Spargo. So all of these boys represented the school at inter-school level. We actually had probably about 19 or 20 that represented the school at Premier Club level, which was a fantastic opportunity for a lot of those boys as well. So just wanted to put our hands together for our inter-school squad and Super 8 champions. Now on the screen there you'll see that for inter-school cricket we have a TBC baggie which we present to players that play 12 inter-school games for the school, and that's just over a season usually to earn that baggie. And so we've got around about 4 or 5 guys that have already got their baggie. We had Lachlan Keeney that earned his one this year, and unfortunately with the delay of Gillette Cup, we've probably got another 2 or 3 that are going to be added to that list in the second half of this year. So Lachlan, you're going to be the one that earns your baggie for tonight, so come up and grab your baggie, mate. Awesome, so I do actually have a couple of special awards here tonight. So as you were aware that we did lift the Super 8 shield, so I just wanted to get Darcy, our skipper, to come up and grab that shield. He's never actually had the real opportunity to get presented it in front of the school, mainly because of the COVID regulations, but just wanted to give him an opportunity to lift that shield in front of all his great peers. So well done, Darcy. On top of that, we had 2 other awards that were awarded at Super 8, which were awarded to the batsman with the most runs in the tournament and the bowler with the most wickets. And out of the 8 teams that were there, it was fantastic to see that we had not only the top run scorer, but also the top wicket taker. And actually, as a matter of fact, we had the top 3 wicket takers over the course of that week. So it was a fantastic week away. Seb Heath ended up with 200 runs at an average of 50 and earned himself the Super 8 bat. So Seb, you want to come up and grab that? I know Jack Jones has been waiting a long time to see this bit of wood so that he can take it home and put it up into his room, but the stump has taken a little while to get here, but we've got it engraved and ready to go. Jack Jones took 13 wickets at probably an unbelievable average of 4.31, and he was the top wicket taker overall ahead of Harsh Patel, who was also in second place on 12 wickets. So a really well-deserved tournament, and hopefully you can put that stump somewhere safe, mate. Right, as the boys exit the stage, we've also got a bit of a booklet that we hand out every year that gives a bit of a review of what they've achieved and some of the little things that they've been able to participate in. So that's a cool little thing to take home and to keep on the mantelpiece. And it might be something that they pick up in 5 years' time and have a bit of a read and remember some of the memories that they've had as a squad. So boys, as you come down, just grab a booklet on the way past. Thank you. Right, so for the first 11 we also acknowledge centuries and 6-wicket bags. If you're lucky enough to make a century in Premier Cricket or Interschool Cricket, you have your name added to the honours board, which will be presented into the new indoor centre once that's up and running, but we'll talk a little bit about that a bit later. So in terms of this season, we have 2 honours boards inductees for the season. So first of all, we have Seb Heath, who scored 123 runs versus Gisborne Boys High School in the first round of Super 8. It was a fantastic knock. Not only was it our only century, but as a year 11, 15 years old, being able to compose himself for a very long time in the crease to score that, just 105 balls as well, showed the talent that he's got. So well done, Seb, on your 123. We've just got a little plaque up here. So now our second honours board inductee was 2 days later, and this was Jack Jones, this time with the ball. Just a little bit of a word around the 6 for 15. Did a bit of research on this over the last couple of weeks, and it's the first spin bowler to take 6 wickets and get onto the honours board in over 10 years. So a fantastic achievement. Well done, Jack. We had a few notable mentions. Seb unlucky not to quite get there in Premier Cricket in the last game of the year. Billy Simon did a fantastic knock of 83 versus Auckland Grammar as well. Harsh Patel, 1 wicket short twice, 1 bowling seamers and then 1 bowling off spin, which was a bit unusual. But Harsh was managed to get 2 fifers, and to acknowledge that we've got a couple of plaques here. So congratulations, 5 for. Awesome, so as we move through, we're into the actual awards now. So the first 7 we do individual performance of the year, to acknowledge someone that's stepped up in a single game. Last year it was actually in a losing effort that we awarded this, but it was just a fantastic achievement what Lee and Collett did last year. This year is a little bit different. We managed to do this in a winning performance, and probably one of the most important wins that we had over the year. So that was Jack Jones taking 6 for 15 and 7.3 overs versus New Plymouth Boys High School. And just to tell you a little bit more about that one, this was pretty much a Super 8 semi-final. We had set 189 for the New Plymouth Boys to win, and Jack Jones came on when the score was at 98-2. They were cruising through, they had a couple of set batsmen, He hit, he struck in his first over, and then went on to bowl their key batsman Jacob Mitchell a couple of overs later, and then was able to remove the final wickets to earn his spot on the honours board. So that was a fantastic effort. We ended up cruising through for a good victory, and one of the good things about this performance is it really gave him confidence the next day in the final. Ended up taking 4 for 25 in the final as well. So really well done. It was a fantastic couple of days for Jack, and he's got our individual performance of the year. Right, next up we have our bowler of the year. This one initially, probably halfway through the season, could have gone to probably any one of our bowlers. They're all stepping up in different ways and doing a fantastic job. But one in particular really sort of hit his stride. And I think I alluded to it in the season review. There was a game against Lake Taupo Cricket Club where we rolled them for 75. And Hirsch Patel stepped up and took 5 for 14 in that game. And so Hirsch was our leading wicket taker in all formats, all the way through the season, in interschool cricket and Premier Cricket, and has just done a fantastic job with the ball. And I think it all kick-started after that game. He ended up with 2 fifers, was second highest leading wicket taker at Super 8, and was our overall leading wicket taker in interschool cricket as well. So well done Hirsch, our bowler of the year. As you can see from that photo, there's a bit of a larrikin too. Right, heading into our batsmen. I think, again, the same sort of thing. There was a bit of a slow progression, and then guys started to really step up as the season went on. Seb Heath is our batsman of the year, but just to talk through that a little bit more, he was our leading run scorer in school cricket and Premier Cricket, but he also beat out not only the students, but myself and Potsy as the two sort of played coaches. It's our role to try to lead the team, and he overtook us pretty comfortably in the end, so a really big effort there. And the fact that he was in the sides as an early year 11 player is just a fantastic achievement at that age. Probably the highlight for me was not that 100 against Gisborne. The highlight for me was 50 against Mount Maunganui Cricket Club, which was a very, very strong club side. They had several NDA bowlers, including a Northern District's representative, Brett Randall, who's just been awarded the First Class Bowler of the Year for ND. And he batted for a good couple of hours against that attack and just looked super comfortable, learned from it, and was able to earn his first maiden Premier half century in that game as well. So he's had a fantastic year, 397 runs in Premier Cricket, and in interschool cricket, 202 runs at 33.67, the highest score of 123. So well done, Seb, our batsman of the year. Right, into probably what I consider a really important award within our group. We spend the whole year pretty much going through things together. We spend all day Saturday together. So as a group, we need to be tight, we need to be getting along, we need to be doing things the right way. And so the team man is essentially someone that I feel has stepped up into that role and really sort of led us off the field in terms of their standards. It was a pretty easy award, this one. Mainly because he just showed it in everything that he did. Troy Barney, who unfortunately is not here tonight, he's again isolated, which is the word of the month. Troy entered the sides relatively sort of new to the setup, but straight away came in asking heaps of questions, wanting to learn, wanting to figure it out, and good 2 or 3 games into it, he'd really come a long way in terms of what he just figured out in terms of how to bowl against Premier batsmen. He was very, very honest in his own feedback, very constructive in how he could improve, and all the way through trainings was always putting in 100% effort for his teammates. The bit that I think really lifted him above us as a leader, I think, was at Super 8 week. It's a long week. It's very hot down in Gisborne. Day 3 and 4 are pretty tough to get through, and that's where we need a bit of leadership in terms of unity. And he provided that in the field. He was just fantastic at motivating the boys and keeping their spirits up, even when we're in tough situations. We did find ourselves in a lot of tough situations. Anyway, we found ourselves in a lot of tough situations through that week. So Troy Barney was undoubtedly our team man award winner. So unfortunately, he's not here tonight, but I still think really important to acknowledge his contributions to the side. So well done, Troy. Well, it looks like our batteries have gone flat, so we'll move that out of the way. So the last awards is the Kane Williamson Cup, and that goes to our first Player of the Year. Out of the boys that have been awarded trophies so far, one I think stood up in both areas with bat and ball, and also in terms of how he progressed through the year. So our first Player of the Year goes to Hirsch Patel. So Hirsch did outstanding with the ball, as we've already sort of mentioned, but something I didn't talk about was his contributions with the bat. He was able to register his maiden 50 in Premier Cricket, but probably the knock of the year had to be his 70 not out against Hamilton in the Super 8 final. We had a significant amount of pressure that we had to deal with in that game. Luke Scrimger definitely should get a special mention there as well for his 60 that he got in the final. In partnership with Hirsch, they managed to get us all the way through to a winning point, and Hirsch finished it off in style as well. So well done, Hirsch. I think his time in this team over the last 3 seasons has changed a lot. He started off as an off spinner, then came back as a batter, and then this year was our opening bowler in the middle of batsman. But he's managed to craft his way into success, and he's just done a fantastic job this year. And I can't wait to see him finish off his time at TBC and Julie Cup at 2 and 4. So well done. Alright, so that's our first 11 awards over. We do have one final award that we're going to award tonight, and Crossie's just going to quickly talk to you.
As I alluded to earlier, Kane donated this trophy to TBC Cricket. We sat down with Kane a few years ago. I'm speaking to this microphone. Kane sat down with a few of us, and we talked about the type of culture that we'd like to have at TBC Cricket, which we're working heavily towards. A big part of that starts, as I mentioned before, with the type of player that we want to have playing cricket at TBC. And so if you have a little look here down at the bottom, those are some good examples of the types of characteristics that we're looking for. And so as far as this competition is concerned, anyone from college reserve right the way through to the first 11 won it. There's been a big range of winners in the past few years as well, at both the junior and the senior level. I think, as far as TBC Cricket is concerned, someone like Kane, who not only plays the game at the very highest level, one of the best players in the world, but I think we all agree probably has one of the better attitudes and the way that he plays the game, the way that he wants to be seen playing the game, the way he leads his team are as important, if not more so, than the results that he is able to achieve with that. So each week, players are given 3, 2, or 1 point award from either the coach or the manager, and those totals are kept throughout either the term or the year until we have a person who has the most points. That person will
2, Kane Williamson Shield recipient, and we work back from 5th place through to 1st. 5th place this year goes to Josh Beale. And when we think about probably around about 130 cricketers playing a game, to get in that top 5 is fantastic. And 4th, Lillard. 3rd, Ashton Lucas. 2nd place, Regan Tristan. Kane Williamson Shield recipient for the 2021-22 season. Jack Fitzgerald.
Awesome, so thank you very much for coming. I hope you all enjoyed the season, and no doubt once it'll go quickly and we'll be back into it before you know it. So hopefully that indoor centre is up and ready for our pre-season, and I look forward to catching you on the moment. Thank you very much.